Hello everyone, my name is Leah Torbert. I'm the owner of Harrington Strategic Partners, and today I'm bringing you another episode of Harrington's Bookshelf. Our book this week is Rome Incorporated by Stanley Bing. I wanted to try something a little bit different. I'm a big history buff and I love reading different things about the different cultures and empires that we've had throughout our history. And Stanley Bing's book on Rome actually looks at Rome from a corporate perspective. When you're first starting your business, all the different things that you have to do to build an infrastructure to where you can succeed. So I thought it might be interesting just to kind of share that with you, and you just look at it from a different perspective. So one of the things that Stanley Bing talks about is how the brothers Romulus and Remus were very deliberate in defining the culture of their country, their development at that time. Now, we have to also be deliberate when we're building our companies. Sometimes it's just us. We're starting out of our garage or our home office like I am here, and then we go on to build bigger and greater things. We have big businesses, we buy buildings, we're in different states or countries, whatever the case may be. But when you first start out, you have to really think before you start hiring people what you want your business to be. What do you want to be known for? How do you want to treat your people? Well, when they did the same thing when they were looking at starting Rome. So they decided that their culture was going to be everyone is welcome. As long as you don't upset the status quo. You follow the rules, everything's good. So they took in people from all cultures, all walks of life, and then they gave them rules and regulations to live their lives by. That way the corporation as a whole benefited and their lives would be better than what they had before. Now, history can argue both sides of that, whether they were successful or not, and that's not the point of this video. But just from being deliberate on how they wanted to set up their culture, we do similar things in our business. Another thing is developing your org chart. So when you first start your company, it's you. Maybe you have an administrative assistant or a business partner, or you have someone in sales, and so your organization tends to be fairly flat. But as your company grows, you need to put in a reporting structure so that everybody knows who they need to go to and how things work. Well, Rome did the same thing. Rome, obviously, they had the ruler, and then they had the Senate, which they created from the elders of the original community that they started, and then they had the citizenship. And so the citizens depended on the Senate to represent their needs to the emperor and actually try to get something done. So we see something similar to that in most of our organizations today. The employees report to management, which then reports to the ownership of the company, and it's seen as the manager's role to try to be the go-between between the employees and the leadership or ownership of the business. Now, how the management feels about that or how effective they are, obviously that's a different story. Now, taking it one step further, you have to look at the actual rules and regulations that go into your business. So when you're looking at Rome, when they first set it up, there was just a ragtag bunch of people. They weren't hiring for key positions. They weren't looking at bringing on necessarily the best talent. So they had a different approach when they first started. So they had to think about how they were going to control all these differing personalities and different end games and goals that all of these people had. So the rules that they came up with was, if you're a man and you are of the adult age of that time, then you would be required to go into military service. And then they had a path for citizenship, and they had a path to become members of the Senate over time. That way certain people could become involved in the organization and development of the country. Well, we have something similar here. Most of us are a little bit more careful on who we bring into the business. If we're not, we kind of learn from that and we become better at that. But we also have our rules and regulations and structure to help make sure that everybody is working towards the same goal. So we may have rules around cultural diversity. We may have rules around when you need to show up for work and what kind of things you need to wear to work, whatever your work appropriate clothing is. We have rules around how we handle our customer service and how we're interacting with the different people inside and outside of our company. So we're very deliberate in how we want to structure these things. And if we're not in the beginning, we definitely learn, because something will happen that will make us realize that we haven't necessarily made the best choices in that area. And so we develop things around that to make sure that it doesn't happen again. So this is just something a little bit different this week. I'm interested to see additional things that Mr. Bing tells us about the difference or in comparisons on how Rome built their empire and about how we go about trying to build ours. I hope you found this really interesting. I will be doing additional videos this week. And if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Harrington Strategic Partners and what we do, I offer a free 30-minute phone consultation. You can go to my website, harringtonstrategicpartners.com, and you can see my schedule right there and pick a time that's good for you. You can also follow me out on social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Again, my website is harringtonstrategicpartners.com. I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.